Hi everyone, my name is Claire Nagel and this is my final presentation for Sociology 427. My presentation will be on teaching as pink-collar labor. My research question is how did teaching become a pink-collar profession and how does that affect both teachers and society at large? So why did I choose this topic? Education is so important. Teaching is an important and often overlooked career, and I wanted to put an emphasis on it. I was also very curious about how teachers are coping with post-COVID and how it being a pink-collar job affects them. I also want to be a teacher eventually. This is why I'm so curious about it. The first source I will be sharing with you today is by Elizabeth Boyle, and it is called The Feminization of Teaching. It was published by MIT. This article is a historical deep dive into teaching as a pink-collar profession. It started in the colonial period and goes up until now. Teaching started to become feminized in the mid-1800s thanks to industrialization. Before that, men mainly held the teaching positions, and teaching was held in a much higher regard than it later would be. The presence of women lowered the status of the profession. When new jobs started to pop up, men left their teaching jobs. They entered more highly sought-after jobs in the industrialized sector. Women stepped in to fill the gap left by men. Schools were initially hesitant to hire female teachers, and they were seen as not able to discipline a class. Eventually, however, schools gave up and began hiring women. This change happened quickly in more populated areas and more slowly in rural ones. In the 1920s, following the suffragette movement, teachers were able to negotiate pay raises. This made teaching more appealing to men and defeminized the job briefly. More jobs also became available to women, which also contributed to the defeminization of the profession. Towards the 1950s, married women were allowed to become teachers, which refeminized the job as more women became teachers. In general, the patterns of teaching in the 1950s continue into today. The next source I will look at is by S. Basu et al. And is called Health and Pink-Collar Work. Previous to this study, little was known about the effects of pink-collar work on workers' physical health. This study aimed to observe the effects of pink-collar work on health. It found that pink-collar workers were actually less likely to suffer from respiratory illness than their white-collar counterparts. Other than this finding, all other findings were not statistically significant. Interestingly, I found in another study by Siebt et al. Titled Predictors of Mental Health in Female Teachers that there were signifiers for decreased mental health in teachers. The article I chose to look at is from The Atlantic. It is by Annie Lowry and is titled Teachers, Nurses, and Childcare Workers Have Had Enough. In this article, I found that many teachers are leaving their jobs, and those that haven't are hitting their limits. Over half of all teachers currently want to quit their job. A big reason for this is post-COVID stress and economic strife. Teachers are also experiencing violent behavior from both students and parents post-COVID. Teachers are not paid enough for the emotional labor they put in. This affects women and people of color disproportionately. Without more public spending and legislation, things will only continue to get worse for teachers. So what issues are we looking at arising from this? Teachers are having to put in more emotional labor than they are being paid for. Additionally, teachers are facing a mental health crisis. According to an article by Steiner and Wu titled Job-Related Stress Threatens the Teacher Supply, teachers are 3 times more likely to report being depressed. This is all causing students to receive a lower quality education. Teachers are too tired to put in their all into teaching. Teaching shortages mean larger class sizes and less one-on-one time with students. Something needs to be done about this. Teachers need pay raises and more support for what they do. There needs to be more public spending and legislation to help support teachers. And that is my presentation. Thank you so much.